swings where when the dollar is strong, you see oil prices declining, and the dollar is weak, you see just the opposite. So just an example of the recent strength of the dollar, which is, it cuts both ways. And I think this is one of the things that the Fed is going to need to balance as it looks at policy next year. So many of our companies in this area that are in the manufacturing industry rely on export markets. It was the weakness of the dollar that helped us get out of the recession. But you look at companies like Oshkosh Corp and Joy Global and Manitowoc, they have these big export markets, and if the dollar is too strong, those goods become too expensive, and buyers will start to go to Japan, or they'll go to Korea, or someplace where they can get it cheaper. And the concern here is that the Fed and all the politicians talk about a strong dollar. Strong dollar is good, but it's strong enough right here. And I think one of the risks is if the Fed starts to raise short-term rates too quickly, it will attract more capital to dollars, causing more dollar strength, and could impact our ability to export capital goods products. So this is the last chart before we get to the takeaways, and this is what I was referring to. This is the Fed dot plot, and what you're looking at here, these are the 17 members who make interest rate decisions for our country. It's chaired by Janet Yellen. You'll see, if you care to count the dots, there's 17 of them. But if you're confused about the direction of interest rates, I can tell you so are the policymakers. 14, they're all in agreement. Rates should remain at 0. But as the economy recovers, you can see they vary from 0 to almost 2%. As we get further out, it becomes more difficult to determine whether rates should move higher or lower. But 16, you can see an even broader disparity in terms of the thinking of the Fed members. When Alan Greenspan was the chairman of the Federal Reserve, he was asked the question, so how should we figure out what you're thinking about interest rates? And he suggested, well, the futures market gets it right most of the time, just look at that. So we put the futures market price up here for you. So the median of the members is $1.08 or 1.15%. The futures market is telling us 63 basis points. Move out to 15, very significant difference, almost 15% different. I think the futures market's got it right here. I think the Fed can begin to raise rates, but again, even if they were to go to 1%, it's not going to derail the economy. I think the long end of the curve can stay where it is, and it will continue to support mortgage lending. My concern would be a flight of capital into dollars, making the dollar stronger and choking off the economy. So with that, let me just briefly touch on our takeaways. U.S. economy is firing on all cylinders. We've got sustainable growth. I think it's highly likely that the Fed sometime this year, just to break the ice, starts to raise rates, and when they do, in June of this year, it will be 11 years, and Alan Greenspan was the chairman of the Federal Reserve. It was the last time we saw a rate increase from the Federal Reserve. Case for economic growth will continue to be supported by accommodative monetary policy. I mean, the rates are low, they're going to stay low for the foreseeable future. There's no real urgency. The Fed has two mandates that they were given in 1977 by Congress. One is job growth, the other is price stability. Inflation doesn't seem to be a problem. We've hit their target of 6% unemployment. They don't need to be in a hurry to raise rates, so that's not going to be a problem. Employment gains will be broad-based, abundant. Cheap energy will continue to create jobs in the manufacturing sector, again, leading to this manufacturing renaissance we talked about earlier. And I think business and consumer confidence is going to be supported by low borrowing costs, cheap energy, and anybody who wants a job can get a job. So that concludes my comments. We're right at the top of the hour. Larry, do you want to come up and should we take some questions, or we just cut it off here?
interstate conversion project.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh, you're talking about the designation of Highway 41. Okay, gotcha. To be honest with you, that is a very significant positive change for this particular area. The reason for that, it's not as though the functionality is going to see much of a change, but the designation by itself is oftentimes a criteria which is used to evaluate an area for potential relocation or location of a project on an industrial base. So when a company looks at areas that they will consider to put in a factory or whatever, oftentimes they'll say, well, I need to have a rail-served property, I need to have, be within an hour of an international airport, I need to be within 5 miles of an interstate highway. So without that designation, that gets us cut from the first level of consideration. So with the designation of Highway 41 as an interstate, it puts us in play for more projects than we are currently.
They'll run out of money at the end of the month. So, you know, I am not an expert there. I, like you, listen to the experts. Alan Greenspan was pretty vocal that Greece is just not going to survive in the Euro. You know, I think we're sort of beyond the concern about somebody leaving the Euro. This has been such a distraction. It feels like we're reliving 2011 all over again. And I think with this more radical party who is in full support of austerity, it doesn't get to the heart of the issue of structural unemployment that they have. And so the sooner that it gets addressed, the better the world economy will be.
One of the original sharks from Shark Tank, has chosen our community to be one of the 5 mid-level communities that he wants to stop and do a pitch tank. So it's called America's Pitch Tank. It's been brought to us. It's on May 14th. So we'll be looking for entrepreneurs and people that have business ideas. And those of you that support those entrepreneurial efforts, we've got sponsorship opportunities available for that as well. And then finally in May, we also have our Cultivate series, the 3rd one that has happened. We have 3 TED Talk speakers, national TED Talk speakers that are joining us on May 20th for CEOs, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, and emerging leadership. So check all those out on our website. Again, thank you for your continued engagement and support. We hope to see you very soon. Have a great day.
up against, yeah, I'm gonna go up this year again. Got me out in April. You ever read I'm a big guy, you know, if we're a town, we're a town, we're a state now. If we do extreme national he's stable facing me.
No, exactly. You are a weird, I mean, in terms of the way that
Islands all over.
you're always
Sitting back and grabbing anything they can, anytime they can. As soon as there's vacant land, that's the first thing. Well, you know, with the growth coming with that 441 interchange. Your name, Matt Frickett, that's it. I knew your name was Matt, I couldn't remember our last name.
we all hit cubicles right in that same hall.
Now you guys are upstairs, I hear.
Real nice facility out there. Well, we always had a window looking out. Funny, we had the now we're above the thing there.